Welcome to the Degenerate Gamblers. How you guys doing? Howie Dewey here, live. We're talking college basketball. That's right. It's that time of year. It has started. Uh, if you like what you hear today, look, hit the like button below. Follow Howie Dewey on YouTube. You can find us on Whop.com. We have a great Discord, 24.99 a month. This is our fifth day. We've had four winning days in a row. We're on a roll right now, but we got to talk college hoops because college football is running right into college basketball. What was it, 3 days ago? We took University of Vermont money line over UAB, smacked them. Yes, we did, plus 220. We're going to talk a little bit about college hoops. A couple of things you got to look for during the season. It's all changed. It's not like college hoops over the past 10 years. It's totally changed. COVID's out of the way. These kids are now in their fifth year. They're getting their fifth year from COVID, that redshirt year. This is the final year of it. Example, RJ Davis, North Carolina. It seems like that dude's been there 15 years, but he's in his final year at North Carolina. Team that is going to make a run. They're pretty solid, top to bottom. Let's talk about college hoops right now. What's the deal? Why is college hoops different? I'll tell you why it's different. Because there's a little thing called the transfer portal. Yeah, 1,800 kids transferred last year. About half of every single team turned over. Look, a team like Kentucky, all new guys, 12 new guys. John Calipari leaves, goes to Arkansas. That team, all new guys. So you have to be aware of these situations. You can have a team like an Alabama, like a Kansas, with just unbelievable talent, the best five-star talent in the country. You got to have chemistry. You still have to have chemistry. Hence, Danny Hurley, Connecticut. He does that pretty well. Connecticut's a team. We've picked them to win the national championship the last 2 years, preseason. I think we had them at plus 3,000 2 years ago. Last year it was like plus 1,800. They're at plus 1,100 right now to win the national championship. I like them. You know, three-peating's tough, but how can you go against UConn? They're well coached. They have unbelievable guards. We'll get into that later. Let's talk a little about the transfer portal. Here's the positives. You know, if you're a kid and you're playing at a North Carolina or you're playing at Kentucky and you're seeing no run, you're seeing no burn, you're not playing, you were recruited there, you were a four-star recruit, and you can transfer to Iona and start playing. It's a good idea. It's a great thing. But it's negative where a lot of these kids, you know, their coach yells at them, they get their feelings hurt. You know, I'm not going to play for him. I'm going to play for Rick Pitino. He's not going to yell at me. Yeah, okay. Listen, here's another way it's good. Let's say you play at a Division II school. You're putting up 20 and 10 a night, you know, and all of a sudden a mid-major recruits you, Wisconsin, Green Bay, a Siena. Yeah, it's a good idea. Move up, you know. I'll give you an example. Siena a few years ago, Jalen Pickett. All right, plays there 4 years, transfers 3 years, transfers to Penn State for 2, dominates at Penn State. What do you bring him to the Sweet 16, I believe? Now he's with the Denver Nuggets. Played last year. Yeah, moved from Siena to Penn State. He knew he could do it. It's a good idea for certain kids. Most kids, no, they're making bad decisions. You know, their Aunt Sally tells them, he yelled at you, you transfer. You can find a better place. Next thing you know, they're on their fourth school. They're not playing anywhere. It's killing team chemistry. It's killing team chemistry. So as a handicapper, I have to kind of balance, okay, you got University of Vermont tonight, same kids. They've been playing together, great backcourt, seasoned backcourt. These kids don't turn it over. And now they're going into Auburn tonight, plus 17 and a half, playing Auburn with all, you know, McDonald's All-Americans. One of the top recruits from Georgia Tech transferred in. They have beasts on the court. Do they have chemistry? We'll see. Early in the season, I'll have to take Vermont to 17 and a half points. You can see what happens. By the time this video goes out, that game will be over. But anyway, look, let's get into it. The other thing that's killing college basketball right now, you got to be aware of it. This NIL is insane. It's nuts. I was all on board with Dickie Vitale a couple years ago. Yeah, these kids can't afford a toothbrush. You got to pay them. Really? You got to pay them? Cooper Flagg's making $3 million this year. Just signed a deal with Gatorade. Get out of here, man. These kids are making insane amounts of money. You got the coaches being held, you know, hijacked. Basically, the coaches got to be careful what they say. These kids will transfer to another school. who's getting paid, how much do they get paid. Some teammates are pissed off because other teammates are getting paid more. It's a mess. There's no more NCAA. The NCAA checked out a long time ago. They have to do something with college basketball. Look, we just have to learn how to work around these systems. We really do. You talk about the transfer portal. Here's another one for you. We knew a kid last year, played 3 years at a school. He averaged like 5 points his freshman year, 9 points his sophomore year, 11 and 8 his junior year. This kid was improving. So what's the coach do? His senior year, he gets a kid that transfers in from the ACC, takes this kid's spot. The kid doesn't see minutes his senior year. It's not just the players. You got some dirtbag coaches out there. You guys know who they are, probably more than me. So there's just no loyalty. There's no more loyalty in college basketball. It's an absolute mess. As a handicapper, I'm looking for teams that play well together, teams that play good defense, teams that rebound, teams that don't turn the ball over. Everybody can shoot the three. I'm looking for well-coached teams, teams that play hard, that when they get down, they don't quit. A lot of things we have to look at. If you've been following me the last 2 or 3 years, you know how well we do in college basketball. That's our thing, besides college football. But we do very, very well. So we're talking about, the NIL, the transfer portal. We have to look at it. There's things we have to do. We have to see through that. We just have to, find things that will give us an advantage. All right. So as we get into it, as a handicapper, what do I look for? I mean, you have certain teams with 5, 6, 7 McDonald's All-Americans. Look at the SEC this year. Why does the SEC have 9 teams in the top 25? I'll tell you why. Right there, baby. Right there. Because the athletic director of the SEC, Greg Sankey, what a beautiful fella he is. I mean, basically football dictates everything. It's cash. Rick Pitino's got an idea. It's actually not a bad one. Let's take the 25 top basketball programs in the country. Let's put them in one league. Get away from football. I'd like to see it. Have a couple mid-major conferences. Greg Sankey wants to get rid of all mid-major basketball. Just make everything the SEC all about cash. The SEC pays these kids so damn much. And that's why they have just 9 teams with just tons of amazing players. Some of them 22, 23 years old. They've been around a while. You look at the SEC this year. Holy shit, you got Kentucky, you got Auburn, you got Arkansas, you got Tennessee, you got Florida. It goes on and on. You just have stellar teams. They're all getting paid. What do? How can I handicap with this? Guys, I look for coaching styles. I look for coaches. You still have coaches with pull. Danny Hurley. You think he lets a few Fs fly at some of these kids? Yeah, he does. He gets away with it. And they win. They win. You don't have to like Danny Hurley. I don't think he really gives a shit, but the guy wins. Those kids play hard. They don't turn the ball over. They rebound. They play defense. Who else does? Mark Few, Gonzaga. Gonzaga, every year they're there. He's built a dynasty. There's no football to compete with at Gonzaga. They just get hoopers there. Rick Pitino, watch St. John's this year. He's got Kadari Richmond that came over his 5th year from Seton Hall, started at Syracuse. Remember that guy? About 6'6", one of the best guards in the country. You don't want to play St. John's this year. So I look for coaching styles. I'll give you an example. Last year, I believe it was the 2nd round of the tourney. People thought I was nuts. Auburn was playing Yale. Auburn was laying 14 and a half. I came out and said, no, Yale's going to win this game. They're going to win this game. They had that lefty, the little shooter, August Mahoney. Had a couple guys that just bored down low. They were solid. They didn't turn the ball over. What they do, they smacked Auburn. They beat Auburn. I think we had that money line at plus 550. That was a beautiful thing. But that's what I look for. I look for matchups. I look for coaching matchups. Teams that play D. Teams that don't turn the ball over. Guard play. You got to have good guards. You got to have good guards. I mean, Auburn may beat University of Vermont tonight, but watch. I think Vermont has seasoned guards that won't turn the ball over. I love this kid, Bogues. Could be home court advantage. How big is that in college hoops? It's huge. It's huge. Auburn will definitely have that advantage tonight. So let's talk about this year, 2024-25. We just started. Uh, there's a lot of good teams. There's good teams. There's teams you got to look at. Northern Alabama, solid team. I don't know where he got all these kids. They got good players. There's a lot of mid majors we have to look at. Teams with 22, 23-year-old kids. They've been to a few different programs. They're going into a situation where the coach can build chemistry fast, and that's what you got to look for. Let's look at this year. I mean, this year, from top to bottom, there's some amazing teams right off the bat. Let's look. Right now, they have, let's go by conference, man. Let's go by conference. Let's start with right at the top. Atlantic Sun. Atlantic Sun's got 4, 5, 6 teams that can beat anyone. Lipscomb, University of Alabama, Eastern Kentucky's always solid. They have some good Division One, you can say mid-major, low major. America East, Lowell was solid last year. University of Vermont. What did they do the first week? They beat University of Alabama Birmingham. We had them. They were plus 220. Maine, who has a nice little recruit coming in next year, and Cooper Flagg's brother. That team is always solid. That team, Albany State, what was it, a few years ago? They upset somebody in the first round of the tournament. You got to watch these teams. These are teams that kids have played together for a while. All right. And sometimes Vegas gives them a little too many points. You got the AAC, American Athletic, Memphis. They actually have a good game this weekend. North Texas won big last night. Great defensive team, slows it down. Rice is solid. Temple's been good in the past. They're down this year. Eastern Carolina, Charlotte. That's a good conference. The Atlantic 10. Atlantic 10's been good in the past. Virginia Commonwealth, they were in the Final Four, like 14 years ago? But you got teams like Bonaventure. They won the other night. Richmond, Fordham got smacked by, who beat him the other night? St. John's beat him pretty badly. Davidson, Dayton probably has a good chance to win that league. St. Louis, one of the favorites to win that league. If Baby Joker can get healthy again. They lost their first game. He got hurt. I've heard it's not too bad. That team, if they can get some chemistry, will be very tough to beat. You get in the Atlantic Coast, ACC. Come on, man. I mean, North Carolina and Duke. Those are the top 2 teams this year. Duke has no excuses this year. John Shire, if you don't win a national championship this year, you're probably going to get fired because Cooper Flagg is going number 1 in the NBA draft, the $3 million kid. How's he making $3 million in college? That blows my mind. There's a lot of good teams in that league this year. Clemson will be competitive. Florida State. Miami's good. One of the best, Jim Larinaga, one of the best coaches in the country. NC State, Pitt, SMU, Stanford are in the league now. Syracuse is down. I'm going to tell you right now. They're not very good. Adrian Autry's probably going to get fired in the next 2 years. They barely got by Lemoyne in the first game. They're in trouble. Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, University of Virginia, new coach. We'll have to wait and see. And then you got the Big 12. And I look at the Big 12 right now. I see Arizona. That is so weird. That is so wild. Arizona's got good players. Brigham Young is loaded. Loaded. Cincinnati's good this year. Houston could win the national championship. Yeah, their whole team again. 6'5" and under. Calvin Sampson. Love that guy. Cheats everywhere he goes, but he wins. Reminds me of Bruce Pearl. They look a little bit alike. They've got booted out of colleges. Those guys win, though. They win. They get their kids motivated. Iowa State's loaded this year. Kansas, the Big 12. The Big 12 and the SEC are probably 1 and 2. Probably the top 2 as far as breadth. Did I say that right? Breadth, width. I'm going to stop right there. Baylor's in that conference. Baylor's got players. They just went to Gonzaga and got whipped. I mean, that was just brutal. Brought in good guards, but Gonzaga, man, they got 6'10", 6'11" kids that can shoot. Good guards. Mark Few just wins. That's what he does. That's a good conference this year. That is from top to bottom, solid. The Big East, Marquette's going to be good. St. John's is going to be the best they've been in a long time. And then you got Creighton, those 3, but who's at the top? You got to knock UConn off. UConn's number 1 in the country in my book. You have to knock them off. You know, they've rebuilt, new guards, new forward, brought in a JUCO kid who's solid. Danny Hurley puts up with no shit. Those kids play hard. I have them in my futures. I have UConn plus 1100, Gonzaga plus 1100, Duke plus 950 to win the whole thing. You want a couple long shots? I'll give you some freebies. I have Rutgers plus 5,500 to win the national championship. You're like, Howie, you're out of your mind. Talk about that in a second. St. John's plus 5,500 to win the whole thing. Arkansas, John Calipari, one of the best freshman point guards right out of the Bronx. He's got him this year. God, it sounded like I just hit puberty. Arkansas plus 4,000. Why do I like Rutgers? Steve Peichel, one of the best defensive coaches in the country. He's had no talent the last few years. They have not been very good. He cleaned house last year. Why? He's got two freshmen coming in, two of the top freshmen in the country. He's got this kid. What the hell's the kid's name? Oh my God, my mind just went blank for a second. Ace Bailey, 6'10", guard. Ace Bailey, 6'10", guard. Dylan Harper, 6'6", guard. These kids can play. They're freshmen, but they're not babies. They're going to grow up fast. They're going to be dominant. This team could be good. This team could make a run. Could they win the Big Ten? Absolutely. Big Ten's not that great this year. They could win the Big Ten. I look at the Big Ten. Purdue's 14. I don't like Purdue this year. I think they'll probably get knocked out. UCLA, yeah, they're in the Big Ten now. You may not have known that. Good team. Top 25 team. Indiana should be solid this year. All right? Woodson's got a squad. But Rutgers is 25 in the country, and they could easily win that whole conference with the talent they have. They got a couple guys that can board. These kids are so talented. They got a kid that shoots it. Look, here's the deal in NCAA basketball. People talk about you need depth. You need depth. You really don't need depth. Look at Houston last year. I mean, Houston went to the final, was it a final eight? Yeah, I think they went to final eight. I can't remember. But UConn didn't sub. UConn subbed 7 guys last year. That was it. If you have guys, these kids are 18, 19 years old. They don't get that tired. You have timeouts. You have TV timeouts. You can play kids the whole game and rest them. I mean, I can't stand listening to these sports writers say that. When I hear Tom Thibodeau, the New York Knicks, he overplays his guys. His guys get hurt. No, they don't. Josh Hart played 40 minutes every game last year. He got hurt at the very end, and it was a freak thing. A freak thing. He got hit in the ribs. I'm not one that aspires to that. I'd rather bet on a team with 5 to 7 really good players than a team with 10 average. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm sorry. I used to coach, man. I'm old school. Look at me. Gray hair. So you got in the Big Ten, like I said, I like Rutgers to possibly win that. The Big West, you got teams like Hawaii, Cal Santa Barbara, Long Beach State. There'll be 1 or 2 teams that are decent there. The Coastal, that's become a wild conference with teams like Hofstra, Northeastern, UNC Wilmington could be decent this year. Monmouth, got to watch Monmouth. King Rice, baby. King Rice gets a couple players every year in that program. Conference USA. Louisiana Tech, Kennesaw State, Florida National could be decent this year. Western Kentucky, they've been great in the past. 0-1 right now. Liberty's been good the last few years. They'll have a team in the NCAA tournament. They usually upset someone. Then you got the Horizon League. What are they? I don't know. Oakland upset Kentucky first game last year. That whole team's done. They're out. They actually play tonight? I think they play tonight. I actually have them getting beat. And then you got the Ivy League. Yeah, you have the little brainiacs. They've done unbelievable the last few years in the tournament. Princeton, Yale, Princeton. Harvard's made a run. Yeah, I mean, one of these teams, I think it was Princeton, went to the Super 16 2 years ago. They get good players, good, solid players. Then you get the MAC. MAC's always solid. You got the MAC, Canisius, Fairfield, Iona, Manhattan, Marist, Quinnipiac, Ryder. Look, Siena, I think they're going to be solid over the next few years. They got my boy Jerry McNamara from Syracuse, head coach there now. He'll get players in there. They'll be decent. They'll make a run. They'll knock someone off in the tournament. The MAC's always good. Kent State. Kent State's going to be good this year. Kent State's good every year. I mean, these guys are winning 23, 24, 25 games. They'll be solid. You go down Missouri at Valley. They lost a lot of players. That's a problem with these mid-majors. Indiana State last year was good. Remember, they should have made the tournament? Well, their coach leaves. Their coach goes to St. Louis, and he grabs their best point guard, and he grabs Baby Jokic. What's his name? Avila? 6'10" kid with the goggles. Goofy-looking bastard, all tatted up. Kid can play, though. He can pass for a big guy. Mountain West this year. This is what we got to watch. Boise State's been set. This is the team. I think they got 4 teams in last year. Colorado State, Nevada, University of New Mexico. I think that's where Patino's kid's coaching right now. UNLV, 1-0. Boise State, that's my squad. That's my squad. You got to watch them. They always have 3 or 4 really good teams. Northeast Conference. Lemoyne must be good. They almost beat Syracuse the other night. Wagner playing Rutgers. What is that? Tonight, they're going to get bombed. And here's the thing. That line's 19.5. I think Rutgers wins by 30. That's just me. Ohio Valley, the Patriot League. You're going to get Colgate, BU, Holy Cross, Lafayette. One of those teams will come out of there. Then you get to the SEC. I don't even want to talk about the SEC. We have to watch this conference for 2 weeks to figure out what the hell's going on because they have so many teams in the top 25. You got Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas, Auburn, Texas now, and Texas A&M. Texas A&M was 13 in the country before the season started. Not anymore. Nope. Texas A&M, 0-1, lost their first game to Central Florida. I like to see that because, I know the SEC has good players, but they get knocked off a lot. Look, before this NIL shit, minus Kentucky. Let's not put Kentucky in the SEC batch. Let's take every other team. You know what they're known for? The SEC, and I've been watching this for decades. They're known for getting 6, 7, 8 teams in the NCAA tournament every single year and get shellacked by mid-majors. That's what they're known for. We made so much money over the past 2 decades betting against teams like Alabama, Auburn, playing mid-majors right off the bat and losing. All right, minus Kentucky. Kentucky's been dominant. That's just what they do in Kentucky. They play hoops. Let's see if Mark Pope can get it going again this year. 12 new guys. I think he's probably going to be okay. Sun Belt, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern. James Madison's been good in the past. Marshall, Troy State, App State. I mean, they'll have some teams that are solid. Then you get to the West Coast Conference. I watched San Francisco the other night. I wasn't that impressed. St. Mary's, it's always St. Mary's Gonzaga, St. Mary's Gonzaga. No one's touching Gonzaga this year. This Gonzaga team is loaded with talent. They got 6'10" guys that can shoot the 3. That's very tough to defend against. And then the Western Athletic Conference. I mean, I don't even know what to say here. Grand Canyon, that's who's been good the last couple of years. Utah Valley, Tarleton State, Utah Tech. Just stop. I can't even go there. So yeah, that's what I look for this year. I'll look for these teams. We'll be scouting these teams. I got a bunch of guys working with me. We scout these teams the whole entire year, seeing who plays good D. Which teams stay out of trouble. That's a big one. Remember Alabama a couple of years ago with Miller? I don't know, he got in trouble with that little murder thing in Alabama. That's a great coach. He somehow brushed that under the carpet, and but they got beat early too. We got some good games. I'm going to talk about some quick games coming up, and I'll be putting these out every week because college basketball, there's games every night, every single night. So, Saturday, got some good games. You got Memphis is playing. I can't even see this. Memphis is playing UNLV. UNLV 1-0. Wasn't that impressed with their first win. They beat Alcorn State. Memphis, I was more impressed with. They actually beat Missouri. Memphis has been good. Penny Hardaway, he gets players. Couple games Saturday, Arkansas and Baylor. I'm not going to miss that game because let's see if Baylor can bounce back after that horrible road loss. They're playing at home against Arkansas, John Calipari, whole new team. I want to watch these guards from Arkansas. I want to see this kid from the Bronx. He was supposed to go to St. John's. He ended up going to Arkansas. Geez, I wonder why. How big do you think that check was? That's another thing with this NIL stuff. You can read about it. Like so and so's getting 550,000, other guy's getting 725. I miss the days of the old $100 handshake. It was better back when there was cheating, where a kid got a car or his mom got a trailer and a suitcase with 20 grand. After the game, everybody got a $200, $300 handshake. Those days it was cleaner. It was much cleaner. Kids are getting insane amounts right now. It's nuts. You got Arkansas, Baylor. Northwestern plays at Dayton. I like that one. You got a Big Ten team playing an Atlantic 10 team, and Dayton's been solid the last few years. They're good again this year. We can watch UConn Saturday. They're playing New Hampshire. Excuse me. New Hampshire's not that bad, but they're playing UConn. That's going to be a rough game for New Hampshire. Of course, the game of the day, guys, Saturday. Two of my favorite coaches, two of the most honest coaches of all time. Brucey Pearl from Wisconsin, Green Bay. Ratted out as head coach to get the job then. You can read about it. I remember when it happened. Then he went to Tennessee, got a little hot water there, but he's perfect at Auburn. Auburn's like, Bruce, do whatever you want. He's going up against Houston, Calvin Sampson. Great coach. Great coach. Got a little trouble at Indiana. Didn't do so well. He's thriving at Houston. I actually love Calvin Sampson. I like his system. I like the way they play. He plays a bunch of kids like 6 foot to 6'5", but they just kill teams. When they get rolling, they kill teams. You got Auburn go to Houston. This is going to be a great game, 9:30 Saturday night. I will have a big play on this game. Look, if you like what you hear, I'm going to be hitting this all year long, right up until April, to the national championship game. We've been on a roll on the Degenerate Gamblers. We have a great Discord. We got guys from all over the country. I got guys I work with all over the country. Get me information. All you got to do, hit the like button. Follow Howie Dewey on YouTube. Join our Discord. It's $24.99. Join for 1 month. 1 month, $25. You get all kinds of information. I mean, we've had guys right from the get-go, right from August, and no one's left. They're still with us. We have a blast on there. Guys, college hoops fired up. I'm pumped. I'm excited. We got college football playoffs coming up. We got bowl games. NBA just started. NHL, we went 2 for 2 last night. Hey, love you guys. Anyways, let's go.